bass.
Welcome back to the next part of this Truth and Rhythm episode. Be sure to subscribe to this channel. If you've already done so, please share it with friends. Also become a member by joining Truth and Rhythm on Patreon, or consider donating at funkandstuff.net. Thank you so much for your interest and support. Enjoy.
You know, I was scouring YouTube for actual live clips, and the only thing I found was a really short snippet from 1978 in Atlanta, I think it is. Are you aware? Are you aware of that one?
No, I don't get out that much on the internet.
Well, let me see if this works. I'm going to try an experiment here. I'm going to see if I can play it for you on the screen and just see how you feel about that.
Wonderful. So that's us. That's it. That looks like Chase Me.
It is Chase Me.
Uh-huh.
That sounds great. Trust me.
Right on. Right on.
Have you ever seen that clip?
I think I have. On some YouTube footage.
Yeah, it's only about it's only 80 seconds long.
Okay.
And that goes into a little bit of Let Me Put Love on Your Mind.
All right. Cool beans, man.
Anyway, yeah, you can just get a good sense from that. Just how dynamic, you guys were.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
And
that was the whole point of being. You had to make a statement when you have to,
to what extent did you guys feel competitive with like whoever else might be on the bill? Like you guys wanted to turn it out,
Well, actually, of course, you want to, do your best, but we were very, actually, I'm not going to say, I mean, if a lot of that goes on in the bit, of course, I remember when we, opened up for Levert.
OJ's,
yes. And we was backstage with Walter, and Eddie was giving us pointers. We was asking him stuff, what about this and what about that? And Eddie was talking to us, and Walter, I know he was joking, but he said, man, don't be telling no whippersnappers, man. They're gonna be trying to beat us on stage, and he said it jokingly, but there was a little camaraderie there, and we got into a lot of situations where the headliner would cut your lights, you have half the sound and stuff like that because they want to be outdid. And so what our management would do, we would get twice as much glitter, more mirrors on our outfit, because so the lights that we had would reflect more, so we could be seen, okay, and our energy took the place of the lack of speakers, the lack of sound with our energy. So it never did affect us. And then when we moved into the fact of becoming headline and stuff like that, we never tried to dampen anybody performance. We want everyone to do the best they can.
Well, we've talked already, mentioned the Barcades a couple times, but in so many interviews I've done, people have spoken of, experiencing some of the unfortunate things you mentioned, but the Barcades being the opposite of that, always good, helpful, lending equipment, just being, really good guys.
Exactly. No problem with the broadcast at all. And had very little problems with that. We're kind of fortunate. And like I said, the little stuff that we ran into, we just sidestepped and kept right on going.
Mhm. You remember, Danny, one or two just especially amazing shows that you guys did back then that just stay in your memory for some reason?
Oh, so many. Like Japan was very much fun because the love of music that the people show there, they love R&B, and we would do a show and they would dance from the beginning to the end nonstop. Okay. And most of our concerts were like that. I mean, but the energy that they showed and the love for music, that was special to me. The turnout and um just the energy that they have. Most of the most of our concerts, people just go crazy. I mean, one special show was LA, the arena in Los Angeles. It was us and Cameo. And that thing went crazy. That's when Cameo had one that they really broke out that year. I can't remember the name of the song. But they was high stepping as well. And the place sold out and we all performed our hearts out. And that was a great gig. That's one gig that really still stands out to me today. So we did, but we had a lot. We played with excuse my I got to mention Charlie Wilson and the Gap Band. I can't leave them out. We did many gigs with them as well, and just watching them grow and just from day one, they was awesome, energetic group as well, and we both learned from each other as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and then I want to mention, post Candy, a couple of those hits, Got to Be Enough, came after that. And to me, when that came, Spirit of Love, just another great album. But when that came and then Too Tight, I felt like you guys were like still funky, but it seemed like you were going for a little bit more polish, and they were R&B hits, but I was surprised because those tracks were so catchy. I thought they would cross over and become pop hits, but they didn't really.
No. It's a shame too, but it is what it is. We did our job. I can put that. We put the music out there. Okay, so but like I said, it is what it is. But those are great songs, and I still love them today. I still get great response from those songs.
Oh yeah, and I just love Got to Be Enough. How like the instrumental part of it is just established before the vocal comes in. You guys kind of weren't afraid to take your time and set the stage musically. And a lot of songs they rush to get the vocal in right away. And that kind of thing. But you guys were just so smooth with it.
Yeah, in radio, a lot of dudes try to get that hook in the first couple of seconds because they don't want them to change the channel. Okay, but I give, and I think the group as well, give Skip Scarborough a lot of credit for that song, especially because when we cut the rhythm track, it was so. And then Skip, he took the track to Los Angeles and had the string arrangement and orchestrated. That was studio horns and string players that played on that. Got to Be Enough. And so when we got it back, man, that thing just blew up. It was like off the chain. Okay, so yes, I'll give Skip Scarborough credit for that. So being ahead.
How did you generally approach your keyboard parts? in terms of, how prominent maybe you wanted the keys to be in a particular track or more subtle and that kind of thing?
Basically, I just held down the pad a lot, let's start solo, like even with and we kind of like map the song out in pre-production, but there are certain times like in So Easy, when I play my organ solo, that was kind of like the last minute. We talked about doing it and everything, and then one day the organ was there, was rented, they brought it in, and I just no rehearsal, no practice. That's a one take solo right there. So easy. And but it came out pretty good. I was very proud of it. And so it just varied, as far as we was always rehearsed when we go in to record. But at that time, Keyboardist was, kind of dominant in sometimes, and then laid back and just a filler most of the time, unless we were solo.
How would you decide whether to, color a song with a synth or acoustic piano or electric piano or a clavinet? Or, how did you make those kind of decisions?
Oh, well, the song kind of dictates what is needed. Okay, and then we was trying to use as much synthesizer as possible when we bought that Prophet 5, and Pat Gleason was the designer of that keyboard, which we recorded in his studio, District Fur, back in those days, right? For one of those albums I got. So every chance we got to get some synthesizer as far as effects and so forth, we did. And we even experimented with a little bit of talk box and everything on one of those songs. But with not much. We just kind of played with it. Because Roger was so dominant in that, so I just let him have that. Talk box. But I didn't like putting the thing in my mouth.
Especially on Spirit of Love. Rather on Touch, the title track on Touch, really strong synth part and one of the funkiest cuts you guys did. That wasn't, I don't think, a single even, but that title track on Touch, hits really hard.
Well, we went after it on that one. We definitely went on with the synthesizer sound and everything. I don't even know if we used horns from that song. I don't think we did. It was all synthesizer.
The bass is really pluck in, the synth is really up front. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You bringing back memories now.
Good memories.
Yeah.
And then Ffun was an interesting record because it kind of raised my eyebrows a little bit because you guys didn't show, you weren't on the cover, and it was the only record that had like a number as a title, and it didn't have as many hits as the other records. And so I'm not sure, what was something going on at that time. Do you remember? Or
well, I know we management was able to get this album designer. He's a big time designer, right? To do our album, cover. And I think he did an awesome job. I think it was an awesome album concept, and everything. So, but during that time, I think the record company, I think they presented some additional producers to work with us. And the music was starting to change at that time.
But then you guys bounced back really strong with To the Max. To me, that was like the last front to back great Con Funk Shun album, To the Max, and Ms. Got the Body, just fantastic cut. And Love's Train, of course, it wasn't as big of a hit then as I think it should have been, but it stood the test of time, as we have well seen.
Yes.
How did you feel when you learned that it had been covered and was revived again?
Yes. Very happy. It was we I look at it as a total blessing for it. 40 years later, someone take this song and blow it up again and get and the song was able to receive the credit that it should have gotten, you know, back earlier. Even though it was a hit back then, but it never was released as a single, Love Train. So it was limited, but it, it did what it did, and it's still doing what it's doing. And it was a good song.
Yeah, and the keyboards are very much a part of what makes that song great.
Oh yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that it just came together. It's a beautiful thing when you can maybe do 50 songs and they all are technically right, but some just come together and fall together where it's a perfect lot, and it comes together easy. It's easy to do. Everything just locks right in with no problem, and that Love Train was one of them.
And Michael kills it on that track.
Yes, he does.
Yeah. Was there ever debates on whether a particular song or part would be the lead from him versus Felton?
But we had a few. We'd have production meetings and business meetings all the time, and that song was actually a little controversial because what we would do is everyone would contribute songs for the upcoming album, and then we'd have a meet on them. We'd meet about them and have a listening session and so forth. And that particular song, Michael and Felton was beginning to write a lot together by that time, and so Michael was able to get Felton's track, The Love Train, and he did his version, and Felton had his version, and they both presented the songs to the group. And of course, the group gravitated towards Michael's concept. And we actually had to outvote Felton on which concept we would use because we all believed that Love Train was a hit, so yeah, those things came up every now and then, every blue and blue. But now you got the inside story out of it.
Yeah, I'd be curious to hear the other version, just for giggles.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't a bad version, but Love Train, and it tells. I mean, it actually became a true story from what I understand between what Michael and Felton was going through. A battle between two men loving the same woman or dating the same woman, that type of thing. So it was from the heart. It was written, from the heart.
I think, that kind of life experience maybe and just soul, courses through Con Funk Shun ballads. It's like some ballads are nice and maybe pretty and pleasant, but a lot of the Con Funk Shun ballads just really touch you inside. They have that extra layer of soul and depth, in my opinion.
I agree. Guys right from the heart. That's one thing about our music at that time. We was music was more romantic. We wrote songs about love and having fun, partying, having a good time and stuff like that. It was a good time to be an artist and to live, to have fun, go to house parties and concerts. I mean, they still having great times now, don't get me wrong, but it's nothing like good R&B, rhythm and blues, funk.
And you guys had a big change production wise after that, where you got the guy that was Dodato produced Cool and the Gang for Fever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we had him and a few other producers that came in and helped us out.
Definitely a change in the sound in that one though, with him there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He was that was a nice change of pace.
Was it the label that kind of was trying to get you guys with different producers, or did you guys want to change it up, or how'd that happen?
But we didn't mind. We had an open mind, because trying to do everything yourself, it's good to get some fresh ideas. I'll come up with some ideas of guys that we worked with. One guy just passed. Houdini worked with us on a song.
Oh, Larry Smith?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that was fun. That was really a good guy to work with as well.
Yeah, with Electric Lady, you guys got into like some sort of like hip hop type producers.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're trying to keep it moving. Trying to get into that. Keep up to date with the music. Because the music was starting to, the hip hop started coming in slowly but surely.
Was Maurice Starr the other guy you're trying to think of?
Yes. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, a great guy. I was trying to see where he's at right now. But yeah, great guy. We had a great time working with him. Great talent. Genius dude. Maurice Starr. Correct.
Yeah, he produced a lot of people. And I think he was it NSYNC or Backstreet Boys, one of those groups too. I think he was part of.
Yeah. It's really New Edition as well. He did New Edition first, and then he did the Backstreet Boys or something like that.
Yeah. And then back then, early 80s, I first came to know him through Johnson Crew. Johnson Crew. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. And Pac Jam and all that stuff. Memories.
Yeah. Good memory.
You guys did one more, Burnin Love, 86. Definitely sound had changed a lot by then with sort of the 80s electronic kind of stuff going on. Where was your head at like around that time toward the end in terms of personally and in relation to the group?
Well, at that point, Felton had left the group, and I brought in one of my proteges that I was producing a gospel album on, and his name was Melvin Carter, and he was an awesome talent. He played keyboards and great vocalist, and so I brought him in, and we featured him on the song "Burnin Love," and so that was a change because he had a totally different sound than what we had previously, but it was a good sound. But towards the end, it's like when you lose your wide receiver, okay, and then maybe even a quarterback. It's hard to keep your identity to where what the audience is looking for. So during that album, we was fighting to try to keep it going, and then produce a great product, which we didn't do bad on that one. It did pretty good.
Well, that one was a hit, Burnin Love.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. Why did Felton take off?
Personal reasons. I know he had worked with MC Hammer at the time. He was helping them with stuff while he was still with us. And I don't really know. It was a lot of political things going on with the group, as well. So I decided, I don't know his exact reasons, but I know he left and went to MC Hammer, which was, could you blame him? at that time. You know, I mean, like he produced a great album for MC Hammer during that same time.
Yeah. So, how soon after that record came out did you guys disband?
Probably that following year, because Mike Cooper went solo as well, and because actually we were supposed to renegotiate our our album deal. We had like a 4 to 5 year album project, because that was the last year, which we were looking forward to renegotiate with the record company, and you know, and cut another for another deal. But without Michael and Felton being in the mix with the group, it was hard to, really shop another deal. And at that point, I decided to take a break. I brought in Melvin Carter, which he did a great job and everything. But after Michael left and everything, I decided to take a break, chill out, do something, just, you know, go on vacation for a year. But at that time, I've been doing music for a lifetime, 30, 40 years consistent. So
Yeah, you
that
guys
was
ended up you guys ended up being together like what, 15 years at least?
15 years. Yeah. Actually more like, because we started in high school. So I lose track of the time. So it was time to take a break. I wasn't, the band played on. I was satisfied with the time that we had, the experience that I did with the group and everything. So it was cool. It was a cool time. I ended up getting pulled back into business and doing music direction for many other groups that was up and coming groups and stuff like that. And becoming a music director, and even getting in church and becoming a minister of music for my church. I'm still doing that now today. And I'm still performing, still getting out and doing particular gigs and stuff like that. I put some guys together and everything, and still having fun.
Did you ever play again with those guys at all? Because I know they kind of got back together several times.
Yeah, I sit in with them every now and then. Get together at the time commit, and we get together. Possibly, who knows what happened in the future?
Well, we can all hope
Yeah,
as fans,
exactly.
When you play on your own, do you ever like cover any of the Con Funk Shun material?
Oh, for sure. I do a Con Funk Shun review. That is fun. I mean, I have a group of guys that play with me, and I roll with 10-piece band. I got the 3 horns, I got 3 vocalists, and the rhythm section, and we have big fun.
Wow. So you do shows in the Atlanta area sometimes?
Yeah, yeah. Since the pandemic slowed everything down, but I was doing shows in Atlanta, in the Bay Area, and the West Coast. Um, had a great following. So now I'm kind of just gearing back up and putting things back together again. I'm doing recording. My latest release was a song entitled "Free to Dream," which was a tribute to Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, and President Obama. It's a motivational type song, which I was motivated in 2000. I was in a car accident. I got in a car accident on Martin Luther King's birthday. And I was bedridden for like 9 months. I had fractured my hip and my pelvis, and I was like in a body crash. I was a passenger in a car that ran into a bulldozer, the biggest bulldozer I've ever seen, right? And it rained that day, and the car started sliding, lost control, and I tried to brace myself and blew my hip out. So while I was rehabbing at the house, I started reflecting on what was going on in my life and everything, and Martin Luther King and being able to survive. Uh, what I think you actually see your life path in front of you, and I started reflecting on Martin Luther King and what he did and everything, and I wanted to do a tribute to him. So the following year, I was part of a gospel group, and we performed the debut track. It was entitled "Free" then, because President Obama wasn't thought of, and Nelson Mandela was still in jail, in prison. But I focused on Martin Luther King, and the title of the song was "Free," and we performed for Martin Luther King's birthday the following year, and my life hasn't been the same since. No, but as I continue through the years, I would perform and do events during his birthday and during Black History Month, and a couple years ago, I decided to upgrade the song again, and it became a tribute to Nelson Mandela, President Obama, and Martin Luther King, because I think he inspired all these guys, right? And so I do something. I try to give a shout out to those artists and other people that have helped in promoting positivity, for the world. So I do that every year.
How can people, hear it and kind of keep up with whatever you may have going on?
When you go to my website, DannyAThomas.com, it's on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, all over YouTube, Danny Thomas Music. Look me up and say hi. We've had to hear from me.
Excellent. What would you say are your 2 or 3 all-time favorite Con Funk Shun tracks?
Oh, that's easy. Love Train, number 1. Got to Be Enough. Too Tight. I go on, but it's so easy. I gotta go so easy in there. Oh yeah, there's a few of them.
Yeah. So is there anything in particular why do you like those so much?
One thing that hits, and I'll be honest with you, I mean, a hit is a hit is a hit. If the people think it's a good song, I got to agree with them, okay? But no, they are. I mean, Love Train just won't quit, okay? And since Bruno Mars redid it, I have requests now to do it. I used to do it because I wanted to do it. Now people are requesting for that I do it, so it has to be done. And like you said, the instrumentation and Got to Be Enough. They're just awesome. The guitar work and everything in that song is just, to me, a great song. And I feel that way about all the songs. That my favorite songs. That Got to Be Enough, and that Got to Be Enough was so easy. That tune is so funky to me, and the performance that everybody put into that song, I want to do something with that one as well.
Yeah, there's like a synth bass or something going on in that song, or it's got like a real so easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that funky bass. And what is my favorite, I think that's the only song that have an organ solo that we did of the 11th album. And I think it came out pretty good.
Oh, came out great. And I think Shake and Dance was a bigger hit, but I think I like So Easy a little better on that one.
Oh yeah, and we had organ on that one too as well. Oh, yeah.
That's right. Yep. Yeah. Yep, sure enough. How about 1 or 2 songs that Con Funk Shun did that maybe people slept on or have slept on that you think they should go back and check out because you thought that maybe they should have gotten more attention than they did?
Yeah, well, Con Funk Shun for sure can be redone. which I'm making a note of that right now. um, um, and there's a few. Let's see. It's one of those ballads. A couple of those ballads kind of got overlooked. Make It Last. That was early in the game, but there's so many of them. I can't really complain. So many good ballads. But Make It Last was a good one too.
And then tell us a little bit about that book that you had out there. What inspired you to do that? And
Oh yes, the book. Oh, I'll be glad to. Well, I wrote that book during the pandemic. I have been making notes and stuff. I've been planning for several years to do it, but never had the time. Okay, so when the pandemic hit and I couldn't leave the house, I said, wow, why not? This is the perfect time, And I'm glad I did. It was very therapeutic. I was able to reflect back on the life and fun times that we had with the function that we did. And I wanted to give back to our fans and supporters all these years. Try to give them a backstage look, see how the road was, tell them so many people come to me asking about how to write a song, how to put together a band, how do you copyright a song, all these things that musicians and people that are interested in getting into the business. I tried to put some basic knowledge of the music industry, add that to the book as well, like music 101 things that you do and look out for, and don't do some of the things and make the mistakes that we did, very subtly, and just share the life of Con Funk Shun with our public, give back to them.
And that's you get that on Amazon, right?
Amazon. You can also get it on my website, DannyAThomas.com. I will autograph it and mail you the copy back to you. I've been getting great response. No problem.
Wow, congratulations on that. Very cool.
Thank you.
If somebody asked you, Danny, how would you describe the Con Funk Shun sound? What would you tell them?
I would say it's like the title of the group, Con Funk Shun. It's like a 3-syllable sound. So it's a mixture of hardcore funk, sweet ballads, and we even do the in-between stuff. Okay. So it's a conglomerate of music that people have put a lot of time to put together.
Are there a couple elements you would say make it distinctive from anybody else?
Well, it's just us. It have the personality, because like every successful group have its own identity. I think you would agree. Okay, so Con Funk Shun have created our identity with our style and what we do, how we do it. Okay, as far as just being part of that funk era, and to be able to do that as well as compete with great ballads as well, I think put us in our own little category.
And a lot of it, I think, too, comes down to having distinctive vocalists too, and Con Funk Shun did. You hear it and you know who it is.
Exactly.
Yeah. And the middle part, funk. What does funk mean to you, Danny?
Funk to me means when you hear that bass of that sound that makes you frown up and get ugly. That makes you want to jump up out your seat when you hear the downbeat and dance, okay, and really dance, get out and shake that booty, okay. That's funk, okay, and as far as to have those type of riffs that it's basically in a minor mode, technically, that put you in a state of mind of just, lay back, kick back, and enjoy the ride.
Yeah, and could you describe to anybody what the feeling was like when the band was in that groove on the stage and just kind of floating on it? What was that feeling like?
It's the closest thing to magic that you can get to, where everyone is in sync. Where I remember time we used to do a jam session on stage. A few songs was written from jam session where we would, part of the show, we would take time out and just start a groove and just jam for maybe 10 to 15 minutes on this groove. Come up with different hooks, nothing rehearsed, nothing practiced, just every show we took time out to have a jam session. Okay, and those things sure feel good to me was a result of one of those jam sessions we did. And so to have everyone just vibing on one accord with the music, okay, and come up with their ideas and the inner sync and intermingle. I mean, like, and I remember there are situations where I would play a hook and play a musical line on the keyboard, and the bass player may double it, okay, across the stage. Just total, just spontaneous type stuff happen. Or the horn players would intermingle with each other and stuff on certain lines. So coming up with hook phrases, that locked in with exactly what the music was doing. So those are the great things about music that I remember, and had great fun being a part of it.
Did it make it challenging at all for Felton to be jumping back and forth from a horn to the vocals?
Oh no, he did it very well. I mean, they had it down. He could do a spin, put his horn in his horn bracket, and turn around and with his microphone. I see him do it. They had it down to a science.
One thing I always regretted a little bit was that Fire When Ready wasn't longer. The track that kicks off Candy. That's such a groove.
Yes, it is. That is. That was a monster concept. And we used to have the fire that would shoot out when it was like a intro song. Yeah, we used to fire to go right along with it. So it was a quite dynamic song.
Is there one of the albums that is your favorite, that you're most partial to, that you feel was the most fully realized album that you guys did?
Well, the sequence come to mind for some reason. I think I like the song sequence as well. That was another song that was came out very, very nice. It set a tonality. It was a different vibe to what, like a little smooth funk, than raw funk with the album Secrets in that project.
Which one? Secrets?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah, that was early on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bet you if Show Enough came out later, that would have been a bigger hit, after you guys had,
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just timing is so much in the industry.
That's it.
Lastly, Danny, what, looking back on this, what are you most proud of in your musical career?
I'm proud of being part of a music organization that did great music, and I give credit for everyone that loved for the music. We applied ourselves, we loved it, we dedicated ourselves to what our plan was, and that's what I recommend to anyone that is involved in whatever they want to do. You have to really apply yourself, put your heart and soul into it, and do the best that you can be, the best that you can be of what you're doing. And so I think I look back at it, and it was just a marvelous time, a blessed time. I don't even take credit for all of it. I think God blessed us. He was looking over us the whole time.
Yeah, hard to argue with that, man, with the results, you know.
There you go.
But hey, Danny, thank you so much for all the great music and for sharing this with us today.
Oh, thank you. Pleasure was all mine. And I'll be watching out for you too. Don't be a stranger.
Likewise, and man, you're not too far away. So if you start doing those shows again, maybe, you know, I'll head down there, or I don't know if you ever make it to Charlotte, but probably I have to head down to Atlanta. I get down there once in a while.
Let me know, man. Fantastic. I really enjoyed the interview. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, and thanks to Bryce too.
For sure. Isn't she a big girl?
Oh, amazing.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, I enjoyed her.
I know.
All right, Danny, take good care.
Thank you. You too.
Okay, bye for now.
Okay.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Truth in Rhythm. A big thank you goes out to our guest as well as to you, the viewer and listener. Also, much gratitude to Pleasure for supplying the show's funky opening and closing music. As a reminder, you can always access the complete list of linked shows by episode at funkandstuff.net. I urge you to support this program and receive the extra benefits along with that by subscribing to the Funk and Stuff channel on YouTube and sharing it with funk, R&B, and jazz lovers, joining Truth and Rhythm's membership program at Patreon, submitting a donation at funkandstuff.net, buying Everything is on the One, the First Guide to Funk book at Amazon, shopping at the Funky Things store for cool merchandise at funkandstuff.net, and linking through funkandstuff.net for all of your Amazon purchases. In addition, if you're an artist or anyone seeking proven, results-oriented professional marketing, PR, writing, or editing consultation or production, check out the media services section at funkandstuff.net. Also, I encourage you to drop me a line at scottg@funkandstuff.net. I love the feedback, suggestions, guest requests, appearance and sponsorship inquiries, and just talking about my favorite subject, groove-based music. For now, and as always, this is Scott Dr. GX Ffun saying, keep on vibing to the rhythm of the one.